Today we're watching a live Q&A with Real Broker's leadership team that I recorded at the Real Summit. I love this format because everything's a little bit more unscripted and we were able to submit questions to them ahead of time. And real quick, if you'd like to learn more about Real Broker and you're looking for a sponsor or a co-sponsor into the company, I'd love to have a one-on-one video call with you. I have a link down in the description below. So on the left, we have Pritesh Damani. He's the Chief Technology Officer. He designs all the technology that we have here at Real Broker. Next to him, we have Jenna Rosenblatt, who is the Chief Operating Officer here at Real Broker. Next to her, we have Tamir Poleg. He is the founder of Real Broker. Next to him, we have Dre Madden, who is the Chief Marketing Officer here at Real Broker. And then Sharran Srivatsaa, who is the President of Real Broker. And finally, on the right, we have Ravi Jani, who is the one asking questions, and he's in charge of investor relations here at Real Broker. So let's hop in. How do your conversation?
How you doing?
I'm Sharran's intern. I'm just.
Hey, can I do this? How many of you know Ravi Jani? Ravi joined us 6-7 months ago.
9 months.
9 months ago. Ravi joined us 9 months ago and to lead all our investor relations efforts. So all our communication with analysts, how our stock is positioned, how our company is positioned for growth, telling the story to the world is Ravi and his entire team. So can we give Ravi a super big round of applause?
You missed the most important fact. I mean, most of you are shareholders in the company and you're probably following the stock price. So you can see a correlation between when Ravi joined and what's happening.
Up or down. So, I think it's the 18,000 agents who've joined and everybody else in this room and on stage who made it happen. But you guys are awesome, so I'm happy to be part of the ride. This is the live Q&A panel with the exec team. We received a bunch of excellent questions beforehand, so I'm going to read a couple for the management team, and then we'll open it up if there's time for Q&A from the floor, and then we'll wrap it up. So the first one, I'm going to start with the hard ones for Tamir. This has been an excellent event to celebrate Real in Canada, but can you discuss some of the challenges in Canada and some of the issues affecting profitability, and what are we doing to address them?
Weather being one. It is a complicated question. So I'll give you some stats. When we close a transaction in the US, so we average out all of our transactions in the US. When we close a transaction in the US, Real gets about $970 out of that transaction. In Canada, the same number is $680. So we make less money per transaction in Canada versus the US. At the same time, if we look at operation and expenses, Canada is more expensive to process it. It's more expensive to process a transaction here. We have twice the number of brokers per market in Canada versus the US. We have a team of transaction processors, and on average, the folks that are focusing on the US transactions are processing 3 times as much as the Canadian ones, just because it takes so much time and so many different tasks to actually process a transaction in Canada. So the challenges are that we're making less money in Canada and it costs more to operate the business. Now, that's not your problem, that's our problem, obviously. And Canada is kind of a growing market for us, and we have some growth pains going on, but I think that the main key here for us is to be able to inject the efficiency that we were able to do in the US into Canada as well, try to automate as much as possible, try to be as efficient as possible when we process transactions.
So I find that really interesting that he's saying that on average about $900 profit per transaction to Real in the US versus $600 in Canada. And I totally get it. If it is more complicated, there's more expenses. He said there's twice as many brokers. And so when you're asking a question like, should they open up in Puerto Rico or a lot of these other countries, they're probably looking at it from this standpoint of how much money does the company make on average per closed transaction. And I suspect in a lot of other countries, that number is going to be a fraction of what it is in America. You know, most other countries don't pay their agents nearly as much as we get paid here in the US. And most other countries are just not as organized as we are here in the US as well. So I get that I understand why their business model is to focus really on North America. I mean, Canada is very similar to America, yet they're making almost 30% less per transaction up there. And so I actually agree with this idea of just sticking to North America right now. I think that the potential pool of agents in North America is massive, and like that is more than enough for us to be a very successful agent and not really expand into other countries. But I kind of love seeing these behind the scene numbers of like what kind of evaluation they need to do when evaluating another country compared to the US.
I'm sure that we can, make it happen. But for now, it's that's the situation. And by the way, it's improving. So don't get me wrong. Our expenses per transactions are improving. So it's on the right way.
Awesome. And I see the numbers. I can attest that they're all going the right direction. Next question for Sharran. The question was phrased, our cloud-based competitor, EXP, has a dedicated Canada leadership team that is responsible for growth and support of its agents in the country. Would Real ever consider having its own Canada-based leadership team?
Now, what's funny about that is that our leadership never tries to mention our top competitors by name like that. It's just part of their policies. Like, we don't like to disparage other companies, and they just try not to focus on the competitors, right? They're focused on themselves. So it's really funny Michael Phelps meme where it says that second place people are focused on the first place people are focused on winning. So Ravi's kind of new to this, the leadership panel there. But culturally, leadership never tries to mention or call out other companies by name like that. So it's kind of funny that he's up on stage doing that.
Why or why not?
So, when you don't have a strategy, everything looks like an opportunity. Think about that, right? And let's assume that, and do any of you have a geographic farm by any chance? You have a geographic farm? So assume that in tomorrow, someone in your peer comes in and starts having 5 cold callers start calling into your farm. That may be a part of their strategy, it's just not a part of ours, right? The reason is, it's because of all of you. We are one Real. Whether it's Canada or the US, whether it's Texas or Mexico, whether it's Saskatchewan, wherever it may be, right? We are one Real. And how we run the company together is the most important thing. Now I'll talk about growth for 1 second, right? It is very easy to say, let's throw more resources at growth because, we've got 14 growth people in Canada, or 14 growth people in Mexico, or 14 growth people in the US. Do you know that most of those growth people are calling us to talk to us to want to come to Real? And the interesting part is this. Growth for Real is a cultural construct. Imagine when you walk in and you don't feel the camaraderie and the support that you feel right now. So many of you have told me, I feel power be here. I feel the connection. That only comes from all of us working together. Growth is a cultural construct for Real. And we are just shepherds and stewards of this process. You are the company. We work for you. The leadership team is just shepherding the entire process. So we don't need a Canada team and a US team. We don't need more silos. We are one Real. And the more we work together, and the more we understand that the culture is the driver of everything, that's what we do.
And I agree with that. We don't really want a different experience up in Canada versus an experience here in the US. We want to have the same experience, and we are one community, one company. And I have a lot of friends up in Canada here at Real Broker. My sponsor is in Canada. My coach is in Canada. A lot of agents underneath of me in my own network are up in Canada, and we are just one big community. Like it treats Canada just like another state. Like it's completely irrelevant, these borders. So I kind of like this idea of just one large company, one community, not two separate entities that are kind of competing against each other. So I fully agree with what he's saying there.
What's a geographic farm? I can ask later. Pritesh, there's a lot of excitement on the consumer app and Real Wallet in the U.S. Do you expect these products to be rolled out in Canada?
The short answer is yes. Like Tamir mentioned, Canada is a significant portion of our business, right? So it's not like something we ignore. However, Canada is a complicated country. everything has more regulations. And it's actually for the good, especially when it comes to financial services. The regulations are not bad all the time. Right? Sometimes they're bad. So when it comes to credit facilities and the wallet services that we are planning on, the United States it's a little easier to work with, and from a percentage basis, a bigger market for us to test out things faster. It doesn't mean that Canada is like going to be a year from now, but it also doesn't mean it's going to be next month. The good thing about Real is referencing Sharran's answer to the leadership, like why not have a separate team? In fact, it would be actually bad for us in many ways, because a separate team means that the Canadian operation, from a technology standpoint, is going to have its own agenda. Oh, we want this for Canada, versus when we build things right now, we build it for a country we don't exist right now. Like the thought process is that, hey, we're going to go to other countries, not saying we're going to go this year or next year, by the way, but we're going to go sometime. Yeah, we're not. So, but the thing is, I don't want a 10-day notice either. Like, hey, we're going to a country, you got 10 days. So we think about this as an inevitability of growth, an inevitability of the direction that we're going to go in. And so when we build technology, the technology is going to be ready for Canada. We just have to get the licenses in place. We have to adhere to regulations and all that kind of stuff and make it meaningful. So that's the short answer, or maybe long.
So one thing that I like about this company, when it comes to our technology, they have always talked about how they're building the foundation right, and they're building it so that this technology can scale. They've been talking about that for years now. And I saw another interview with Pritesh, a presentation where he's saying that if a KW office, for example, wanted to add 1,000 agents, so let's say you had 10 KW franchises, they want to add 1,000 agents, it would be a nightmare onboarding 1,000 agents, all admin costs associated with that, getting everybody squared away and all the training and all that. If we wanted to add 1,000 agents to Real Broker, we could do that tomorrow in one day. And it's because we built the foundation properly to scale at these higher numbers. And in fact, as we scale up, as the number of agents in the company scale up, our business expenses per agent goes down. Like, this business scales appropriately with agent count. And so I love that he's talking about that here as well, that he's building technology that can scale into other countries and can get integrated into other countries as well. I'm actually a little surprised with what he says here. So again, he said they're not planning on moving to other countries anytime soon, but it sounds like they are trying to build the foundation so that someday they could. Someday when they want to flip that switch, the software and the platform is all squared away so that they can start expanding into other countries someday down the road.
Awesome. Question for Dre. Are there any new partnerships or collaborations in the works that can enhance our marketing efforts and benefit our agents?
Yes, I'm excited to announce that in a couple of weeks we're going to launch our first partnership portal. And we get calls all day long, all of us. People want to partner with us, people want to work with the Real agents, they want to be a part of this community. And so it's our job to vet all the best services and features and opportunities before we send them to you guys. And so what you're going to see is this really cool partnership portal where you'll be able to access some of the best and brightest companies to work with and services. So that's coming very, very soon. Awesome. And largely because of what Sharran's just got an enormous amount of opportunities that he sends my way. Thank you very much.
Go Ducks.
Official sponsor of Real.
But actually, that goes to say, if you do have really great service providers that you love and you think would be great for us, don't hesitate to write me, I'm Dre at onereal.com, or you can write into my team or write on to support at onereal.com. There's a lot of opportunities for you guys to send partners our way, and we'll vet them and make sure that they're up to the snuff, right? Up to the great standards that we want to provide.
Jenna, when are we expanding in Canada?
That's a very direct question. You were not the first one to ask me that while I've been here, ironically. No, all kidding aside, I get this question a lot. And I think both Tamir and Sharran hit on, we still have some work to do in Canada, right? Any of you that I've spoken with, we've had conversations of the culture's amazing, this is great. If we could fix this one thing, that would make my life so much easier, right? Because of the nuance in Canada or a specific province. And so we really want to be doubling down. I've been working very closely with Pritesh to tee up a couple of things that will be coming throughout this year to make your lives easier. And so we want to make sure that we're focusing on our existing provinces in the near term. That doesn't mean is it an if question. We are going to expand in Canada, but it's something that we will be looking at some point in 2025.
Tamir, what quantitative metrics do you track to measure your long-term success, and what defines long-term success for you?
I thought we wouldn't get to this one. I think that since the beginning, the way we thought about the metrics of our business was trying to deliver as much value as possible. And it's very difficult to quantify the value. So we thought that, if we build value, people will probably buy into it and join us. So maybe a way to actually quantify value is how many agents join the platform eventually. Even though we don't like to talk about agent count and agent growth, because this is not the North Star. The North Star is providing sufficient value, more and more value. But then when you provide enough value, then people follow. So I think that one thing that obviously would be a testament of the value that we bring is agents joining the platform.
And this is kind of interesting that I've heard him kind of soften on this position over the last couple of years. When I joined about 3 years ago, he would often talk about how agent count is not our North Star. And that's not our ultimate goal. And I agree with that, because when the number of agents in your company is the only thing that you're concerned about, one, you're going to start focusing on non-producing agents. You're going to start focusing on new agents. You're going to start expanding into countries that are not really profitable just so you can increase your agent count. And we see other companies doing that. And the kind of the North Star for him has always been the best experience for the agents. That's what the goal is. And I did an interview with him maybe a year and a half ago, and he said if we can hit this goal of giving the best experience for the agents, the agent count will follow that. Now we've recently expanded that to be the best experience for the real estate agent and the consumer. We're making some efforts with the consumer app and making that a better experience for the consumer as well. But I have heard him kind of start talking a little bit more about agent count recently. And what his kind of argument is the network effect. The larger a network is, the more value it has, right? That's the network effect. Facebook is valuable because it has billions of users. You could create a copy of Facebook. Maybe your software is actually better than Facebook, but your version of Facebook has 100,000 users versus 1 billion users, right? That larger the network is, the more value it provides. So as Real Broker gets larger, we're about 20,000 agents right now, that network is a big portion of the value, that you get access to training and masterminds and live streams and access to collaboration and that community of a 20,000 agent network. Also with agent count, as we scale up, because we really focus on that foundation and that technology, Real becomes more and more profitable as we scale up. The revenue per agent increases as you scale up. So there's definitely value looking at agent count. We want agent count to be as high as possible, but he is still very clear here that that's not the North Star. The North Star is the best experience, but measuring agent count is still a very important metric that is going to indicate whether we are providing that best experience or not.
Is joining the platform, and I think that this is something that we will continue to track. There are a lot of other things that we track, but I think that we also care about profitability at the end of the day. We know that profitability is important for you in your businesses, it's important for our shareholders, and most of you are shareholders in the company. And I think that when we went through the first 10 years of the company, the focus was on product market fit, how can we deliver more tools, more services to agents, and now it's starting to be more and more about services, value, and profitability. So how can we create profitability while still allowing you to win tremendously? So I think that the main things that we will track moving forward is obviously agent count and all of the other metrics of efficiency and then profitability.
Great. It was awkward, which is why I was give it to Sharran. It was a little awkward for me to ask you, but you've had 5 successful exits in your career. Is there an exit goal for real?
So that actually is kind of an awkward question to ask the president of a company. And if you look at a company like Keller Williams, for example, I don't mean to disparage them, but they've had something like 5 presidents in the last 6-7 years, right? They've really just kind of cycled through them. And presidents, they do usually have like a tenure at a company. They're usually there for a few years, or they're not good, maybe a decade. There usually is some sort of lifespan with a president. Maybe a president is on board for a certain phase in the company's growth, and they get a new one later on down the road. Sharran's really helping us build something very unique here, though, and he's so in line with Tamir culturally. I definitely think he's going to be here for the long run. I think he's having a lot of fun. I think this is exactly the kind of project that he loves sinking his teeth into and just interacting with agents in this community. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. But it is definitely an interesting question. Tamir is definitely in it for a lifetime. This is his baby. He's had this company for 10 plus years now. Sharran's probably going to be in this for a very long chapter. Maybe not forever though. But let's see what his answer to this is.
I thought we were not going to get to this.
Give us the number, Sharran.
I'll tell you two quick stories. Number 1. For most entrepreneurs, all of you entrepreneurs, when you start a business, you think about where can it go and how you can exit or monetize it in some way. But the power of real is that the exit already happened. Us going public was the exit, and the exit was done for a very specific reason. And that exit was to create liquidity for all of us to be partners. The exit is not for 16 shareholders and 3 VCs to make a lot of money. That's not what this is about. We went public. Tamir's told me this story multiple times. We went public to give all of you a sense of ownership in the company. If Jesse Peters and I started a real estate company in Winnipeg and we gave Addison 20% equity in the company, it's worth nothing. Like, he can't do anything with it. He can't trade it. He can't monetize it. He can't remodel his house with it. He can't send his kids to college or university with it. The exit already happened, and now we have a responsibility to build and grow it for all of us. We're in a super, super special place for this exit to happen, and super big thanks to this guy, as he had the vision for it and saying, hey, we have a chance to make this a true partnership where people can feel ownership in all of this together. So, and where we are from a stock price perspective and a valuation perspective is we are not the person that is going to be acquired. We are the consolidator. We are the ones that can go out and actually, if the opportunity exists, think about the firms if we need to, but if we protect our culture right. So the exit is, we've already done it, and we've done it for you.
Let's go!
So I actually do like that answer. There's a lot of other, let's just be honest, there's a lot of other cloud brokerages that are emerging in the last 12, 24 months. And a big, marketing push of theirs is that you get pre-IPO stock, right? We're pre-IPO. And that IPO is going to be an exit for a lot of people. You earn stock in some of these other companies, and you can't sell that stock on the open market until it's actually listed on one of these exchanges. And I feel like when they finally get listed, that is going to be an exit for a lot of people. That is the end goal, is having a startup, working on it for a few years, and then it goes public, and then they exit out of the startup. We're not that. We've been around for 10 years now. Before we were listed on the New York Stock Exchange, was about 2-3 years ago, we were listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So we've been a public company for a very long time now, and we're not pre-IPO. So that extra model is already done with, right? Now we're just in this growth phase. We are all owners in this company as well. So yeah, I love that answer, that exit opportunity that he may have had at other companies. Like that doesn't exist here. Like he's in it to build something with us, and we're all going to have the same opportunities that he has.
Since you asked the question, this is like a baby elephant in the room, so I want to share it. I've shared it with some of you before, and I shared it with Tamir in my first couple of meetings with him. We talk about like the good stuff. Hey, we got a chance to build and sell a couple of businesses, but no one talks about the tough stuff. When we sold our last company, I promised 3 partners did well economically, but I went into 2 years of manic depression because 3 of us did well, and 700 agents got a new brand, and that's all they got. They got a new brand, they got a new platform, which was fantastic. And for those 2 years, I struggled a lot. Now, it's not your problem, it's mine, I had to work through it. But my first conversation with Tamir was, hey, the next thing that we do has to be about us winning together. It has to be about a co-ownership model where when we all work on something, everybody wins. That's why when a new agent comes on in Texas, Jason Peters gets to cheer them on because that new agent is lifting the company up. So we're all here for you so that we can build this company together. It's not about the exit. It's about us building and loving and creating a culture that we're all so proud of. And as we build, we get to drive value, not just for ourselves, but to change the very financial bloodlines of our families. That's why this is super special, right?
And just to give a little backstory, so prior to this, he took, I guess, the president role or CEO role at TELUS Properties, which is a Canadian brokerage. And in 5 years, he 10x'd the size of that brokerage. And then he sold the brokerage and had an exit. And yeah, I think he did very well financially. He actually had a do not compete clause with that sale. And so he actually couldn't run any other brokerages for a while. Once that do not compete clause finally expired, that's when he joined Real Broker about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And I had an interview with him, and he actually talked about this, that this really was just really like gut-wrenching to him and caused a lot of depression, and he was seeing a therapist for a long time, that a very small percentage, of that company, like his business partners, the executives, they made life-changing money, had a great exit, but the majority of the agents, like they saw improvements while he was there, but after he left, like he couldn't help them out anymore. And he was talking about this 2 years ago, that this caused him a lot of strain, and he had to talk to a therapist for a long time about that. So I love it when I see CEOs getting vulnerable like that, or see presidents getting vulnerable like that and getting wrong like that. And I believe them, like we are all owners in this company. TELUS Properties, it wasn't publicly traded. Those agents didn't have that ownership. We all have ownership in this. I'd say a lot of agents. I don't know what percentage of agents at Real have stock in the company, but every single agent has the opportunity to get free stock in this company. Even if you close one transaction a year, if you do the stock purchase plan, you can get a 10% bonus on any stock that you buy directly out of your commission. So even if you're closing one transaction a year, you can have free stock in this company. The elite agents are obviously getting about $24,000 a year in free stock. And we are all owners in this together. We're doing this together. So his efforts are not just going to benefit him and the executive team. His efforts are going to make life-changing money for thousands of agents at this company, maybe tens of thousands of agents. So I genuinely do believe him when he says that he wants to have a bigger impact on more people's lives, and that's sort of what his mission is right now, and that's what he's really working towards. It's not just his financial success, it's all of our financial success, since we're all owners in this company.
This is a fun fact on that. I was just looking. As of Q1, agents had about 50 million shares of Real, which is $250 million.
You hear that? $250 million is owned by Real Broker agents. $250 million, you know? So if he can 10x this company from here, how many agents' lives is he going to have a substantial impact on? I'll tell you some of my numbers. So right now, Real Broker's about 20,000 agents. I have about $100,000 in stock in this company right now. If they can 10x this company from here, that is going to be life-changing money for my son and I. Right? I'm a single parent. I have one son. Like, that'd be life-changing. And like, that is his mission. He talks about this often, that he wants to share this success with as many people as he can, have as much of an impact on as many people's lives as he can. And I love that. I love that mission. You know, that is absolutely the kind of thing that motivates him to wake up every day and work 12, 14-hour days every day, is to have that kind of impact on so many agents' lives.
More than Remax's entire market cap. But with that, let's open the floor to questions.
Did you say that again on camera?
Don't quote me on that.
Too late.
Too late.
Libby, and then direct.
Yeah.
Can't see anything.
Questions?
Any questions from the audience? We've got Mike on our aisle.
Hey guys, I'm Ray. In a company and a culture that's grown so rapidly, how do you maintain the culture that we've built so far?
Can I start this? I think it comes from us. We trust one another, we respect one another, we're giving back all the time to one another, and we're giving back to you guys. And to me, I see this company growing fast and furious, because when I got here, it was like 6,000 agents. And for me, the events, the on-the-ground experiences, it's partnering together. We're constantly on the ground with our community, and we want to make sure that we're accessible to everybody, and we want everybody to be accessible to us. And when we do things together, we grow together, we rise together. And so being in person, being remote is hard for a company overall, but we make it a very big point to be together. And when we're together, we're very present. And it means a lot for us to keep this culture exactly where it is. So it's our job to foster the great community. And then it's your job. So it's up to everybody here. Like we all love being here. We all love the fact that we can just go to the next person and say, hey, I need a hand. And I'm constantly saying, I'm saying this to a few people that are brand new. I'm like, if you have any questions, you don't have to email support. You could go in a workplace and put your question in, and 20 people will actually answer it for you because they want to, not because they have to, and because they get something out of helping each other. And that is very unique. And I have not seen that in another company, and I have worked at companies similar to this in the past. So I think we have something very, very beautiful here, and I hope that we can all keep it together.
So I absolutely agree with that. I think that culture definitely starts at the top with leadership. And culturally, I love that half the people up on our leadership panel are all wearing sneakers. I love that our leadership's often in blue jeans and sneakers, right? Like, that is kind of the culture of this company. I love that Sharran is so active on social media and has his own podcast and his own Instagram reels and his YouTube channel, and is very active on building a personal brand with his social media. I love that our leadership is a huge focus on kindness and helping other people. Even one of our core values is talking about being kind. I love that our leadership is innovative. This is one of the most innovative companies that I've ever worked for, or ever even seen. I've talked about this in other videos, but just the idea that we're coming out with a consumer app, and it's going to have Real Broker, Real Title, and Real Mortgage all in the same platform just to give that better experience for the consumer. Like, that's innovative. That's part of our culture. I love that with Real Mortgage, they're going to start encouraging real estate agents to also get their mortgage loan officer license and be the loan officer of Real Mortgage and the agent on the same transaction. That's innovative, right? And that's part of our culture. I love that where they're coming out with a real credit card and a debit card, right? It's innovative. Now, whether these little projects, succeed or not, it doesn't really matter. We have a culture of innovation and pioneering new frontiers and experimenting, and we have a culture focused on kindness and technology and just having fun. And all of that culture that I just listed, you can see that, within our leadership, and it really does start from the top down. We also have a culture of not disparaging other companies and not disparaging other agents as well. That's actually part of our policies, but it's part of like their own core values and their policies as well. Recently, there was a post by, I'll call him out, Glenn Sanford, on his Facebook page, bashing Real Broker, spreading misinformation about Real Broker. And like that is the culture of leadership at that company. He is very comfortable disparaging other companies publicly, disparaging his competitors and putting out misleading and misinformation about his competitors. That's the culture of that leadership team. A Real Broker, they don't even like mentioning the name or implying other companies. And you'll never see Tamir disparaging another company publicly like that. Same thing with Sharran, right? Culture really does start with leadership, and I think that our leadership team is just top notch, and they demonstrate an amazing culture here at the company.
I can add. Eric Hatch reminded me of a conversation we had yesterday. He reminded me of a conversation we had back in 2021 when he flew over to New York to meet us. We were nobody back then. We had 1,200 agents, and he was this massive organization. He had a team, and he's a coach, so everybody knows him. And he came to meet us, and he was thinking about joining us. And then he asked me that same question, Ray. He asked me, how do you plan on maintaining the culture? And I told him a story. I live in Israel, and if you stand in line in Israel, it does not look like a line. It looks like a bunch of people disrespecting each other, trying to get ahead and be first. But, if you stand in line in Canada or in the US, you can actually see the straight line. When Israelis travel to the US, they actually stand in line like everybody else. So what I told Eric is that if we bring in enough people who respect each other, who build that foundation, then everybody else who comes after will align according to what those people said. Based on the culture that they set. And this is actually what happened. I think that we managed to build this amazing foundation of humans that are just awesome and share the same culture. And whoever joins us after, they're probably going to follow us.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'll be honest, like, I kind of feel that responsibility on myself. I kind of feel like I am a representation of Real Broker with these videos, and I am demonstrating the culture of this company with these videos as well. And I try to be as in line with the culture that leadership is demonstrating for me as well. And all the agents here, we are all representatives of the culture here at Real Broker. And, a big part of culture is obviously demonstration and having the policies in place to keep that culture alive. It is also enforcing that culture as well. And I have personally seen them kick people out of this company who are not in line with the culture. I actually had an agent that joined my own network. He was in my tier 1. And the first 6 months of being here, he built a network of about 40 agents, but he wasn't doing it the right way. He was completely out of line with the culture of this company. His broker got involved. They warned him many, many times, and he just refused to get in line with the culture here. And despite him being a builder, despite him bringing in 40 agents in 6 months, they kicked him out of the company because he just was not falling in line with the culture that we have here at Real. Like, culture is very, very important to our leadership, and they absolutely prioritize maintaining our positive culture over agent growth. And it sucked for me losing that tier 1 agent like that, but it also made me very proud to be at a company like that that is prioritizing culture above everything else.
I'll say one quick thing. I had a conversation with Joel from Unaffected this morning. It goes along the lines of what Tamir shared. And I think we also have a responsibility today to lead with some grace. And let me tell you what I mean by that. A lot of folks are, I believe that this industry has great people wanting to do good by their team members, to their brokerages, and for their clients. And they've just not found their home. They are rough around the edges, or they're trying to find their path because their current environment doesn't allow for it in a lot of ways. Now, are there some right cultural fits and not? Yes. But it is our judgment, it is our grace that is important right now to say, oh, here's the Sharran guy, he's trying really hard, he's working to find something. Man, if he was here, he would thrive. There's a lot of people in this room right now that are thriving here more than they thrived in their past environment. And I think we have to lead with some grace to see that, to recognize that, and to welcome that, because they can be an insane part of our culture if we just gave them a chance to be in this environment. So the responsibility is on us as well, not to just sideline them, but to say, hey, can we lead with grace here as well?
Hey guys, my name's Tony Acosta. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah with the Perry Group. So my question is, I primarily work with the Latino community, with the Spanish-speaking community. And to your point, Sharran, as we've had these agent attraction conversations, I've realized that there are thousands, tens of thousands of agents in my area and nationwide that transact in Spanish, work in Spanish, close in Spanish. Everything they do is in Spanish. So my question is, are there any plans at Real to provide Spanish resources for those individuals going to exactly what you said, Sharran?
Yes, Tony, thank you. So I'm so glad, this was not planted, by the way. This is great. So I'll share maybe as an idea. What we've been working on over the last few months is several questions around this. So we've had a few of our Spanish or bilingual agents actually recreate attraction marketing materials, and they took my entire Discover Real presentation and rebuilt it in Spanish just as a starting point for that entire conversation. So that is the beginning, call it the gateway of getting people introduced to it overall. And and that was inbound. So that's already in place. I'm assuming it's almost ready. So we'd love to get that in your hands to see how it is and make that better. We also have 2 brokerages that are joining us under private label who serve the Chinese community. And I was talking to Tamir. They literally have gone through all our videos and translated all of them. And so we're gonna have a chance to do more that way. So if you see kind of language opportunities where we can reach better people, reach agents and serve clients, please let us know. It'll be a Dre and me project, so please let us know. And we're super happy to do that because we need to. And it's not been a focus because no one's asked, but now it is. So please let us know, and I'm excited to get you those materials, and you can tell us how it is.
Any parting words, Tamir?
I'll be in a few minutes.
Thanks everybody for great questions.
So I love that. I love that they're willing to take impromptu questions like that. I love these just, honest conversations with leadership. Really gives you kind of a glimpse inside of their minds, a little bit better than like a presentation, a slide deck may. I gotta say, I love our leadership team. I love every one of those people up on that stage there. I have a lot of respect for all of them. And really, like I was saying before, the culture of this company starts with the leadership, and our leadership team just has amazing culture. I love how innovative it is. I love that it's focused on kindness, and I have nothing but confidence in this company. I'll give you my own personal belief. I think that Real Broker, I'm going to state it publicly here, is going to be the largest cloud brokerage within 3 years. So it's 2024 now. 2027, we're going to be the largest cloud brokerage out there. I think we may be the largest brokerage, period, within 5 years. So let's say 2029. That's my personal claim, just with how confident I am with this leadership team right here. And I love that they're just sharing all these insights and little tidbits of information that we, as agents here don't usually get access to. But yeah, I thought that was a fantastic Q&A by our leadership team. So if you think that Real may be a good fit for your business and you're looking for a sponsor or a co-sponsor into the company, I'd love to have a conversation with you. I have a link down in the description below where you can schedule a one-on-one video call with myself. And if you'd like to see more presentations from Real Broker events, check out this playlist right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you.